What's up guys, and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we are going to be talking about dual clutch transmission vehicles. I am in my 2014 Nissan GT-R. This car features a 6-speed dual clutch automatic transmission. So a dual clutch is a little bit different than a conventional torque converter automatic. This actually has a clutch in it, just like in a stick shift manual car. And being a dual clutch, there are two different clutches. There are basically two sets of clutches for two sets of gears. You have your even gears and your odd gears. These transmissions are lightning quick. They are very responsive for performance driving. They are more efficient, and a lot of times they're lighter weight and just better for modern cars as far as efficiency and power goes. So today's video, we're going to talk about 5 things you should not be doing in your dual clutch automatic transmission as far as prolonging the life of this transmission and just making it work the best to its ability. So the first thing we're going to talk about is when you are on a hill, taking your foot off of the brake. Now with this vehicle, as soon as you take your foot off the brake, the car is going to try to engage the transmission and go. So as I'm on a hill right now, if I let my foot off the brake, the car doesn't move or anything, but right now the clutches are trying to work, giving it a little bit of gas, they engage. So you don't really want to do that, because when you are doing that, especially on a hill, you're basically making the clutches and everything work and try to engage to hold the vehicle from moving. Now, some more modern cars might have an electronic brake hold where it'll still apply the brakes if it feels like it is rolling back a little bit. But for the most part, I wouldn't recommend doing that. You know, you're basically letting the weight of the vehicle sit on those clutches. They're trying to slip, they're trying to work, they're trying to hold you. Just like if you're in a manual transmission car and you're just riding the clutch, holding yourself from moving, you're just excessively wearing the clutches for no reason. So with that said, on to number 2, which is putting the vehicle into neutral when you are at a stop sign or a stoplight. In all honesty, there's really no reason to do that. The transmission is smart enough to know that when you are holding the brakes, holding the vehicle still, it's going to disengage the clutches and nothing's going to be slipping. So I'm on flat ground coming up to a stop. Right now we're idling around 750 RPM. It dropped just a little bit once I came to a complete stop. So the computers in it have disengaged everything to where we're basically idling in neutral. And if I put it into neutral, it actually idles a little bit higher now. Not to say that we're slipping the clutch or anything like that when I'm back into gear, but the car's smart enough not to be riding the clutch when you're not moving. The only thing I will say in this car especially, and even my automatic Genesis Coupe back in the day did it, you might be able to see or hear my steering wheel vibrates a little bit. If I touch it, it goes away, but I can see it shaking just a little bit. And when I do put it into neutral, everything calms down. There's no more vibrating or shaking or anything like that. So I do put it into neutral a lot of times at a stop, just because the car seems like it vibrates a little bit. I don't know why it does that. It's not the first car that's done that. I noticed a lot of automatics will do that. As soon as I let off the brake though, it goes away. But you don't have to do it. You're not going to save any efficiency with gas. You know, you're still going to be idling around the same mark. So you don't have to worry about anything when you are stopped at a stop like that. So then on to point number 3, when you are in traffic, try not to creep. So right now there's a car in front of me. I'll put it back into gear. Creeping, basically, let your foot off the brake, go a little bit, stop, foot off the brake, you know, go a little bit, just inching your way foot by foot. Basically, you're disengaging and re-engaging the transmission the entire time. Right now, like we just talked about when you're stopped, the transmission is disengaged. We're just idling, no big deal. As soon as I let my foot off the brake though, you can kind of hear the bell housing in this car. At least you can hear the transmission a lot. You can hear it engage and start to move and propel the vehicle, and then you hit the brakes again, it disengages. So really, you're just excessively slipping the clutch quite a lot, and you don't need to be doing that. So what I do when I'm in bumper-to-bumper traffic, I give myself a few feet in front of me. If the car in front of me moves 3 or 4 feet, I'm not going to move. I'm not going to inch my way up just to make the person behind me happy. Now, if there's a huge gap, of course, get up to the car like a normal person would, but you don't need to just creep your way up every single foot just to maintain the same distance with the car in front of you. So give yourself some room. It's okay if there's a 3-foot gap. Even if someone beats at you, they're just being stupid. So for number 4 on the list, this is going to be how you are shifting your vehicle. Now these cars can be driven like an automatic. Right now I am in automatic. It's doing all the gear changes for me. If I slow down, it'll change gears to a lower gear. When I accelerate, it'll accelerate for me. So with these cars though, especially if it is a performance vehicle with a dual clutch, you can then shift manually. So if I bump this over into manual mode, I can now take full control of the transmission by using the paddle shifters. Now, the one thing with a dual clutch transmission, this thing has shift logic, which is basically a computer controlling what gear is gonna go in the next sequence. Now, one thing really interesting you're gonna notice with these transmission, the way you drive the car will actually affect how quickly and efficiently it's going to shift. So right now I'm in 6th gear. Obviously, if I wanna floor it, I need to be in a lower gear. So if I'm actually on the brakes and I downshift, it shifted pretty quick, as you can hear. And then when I'm on the gas accelerating, upshifting, as you can tell, it was also a very quick gear change. The car knows that if I'm accelerating from a low gear, I'm probably gonna go into the next higher gear. Now, on the flip side of that, if I'm slowing down, trying to upshift, it'll actually take longer to make the gear change. And if I'm accelerating a little bit, trying to downshift, it'll actually take longer to gear change as well. So just to demonstrate that a little bit, if I'm on the brake and I go into 6th gear, I'm in 5th right now, so hitting the pedal and then it changed. It took a lot longer to gear change. And at the same time, I'm hitting the accelerator, downshifting is a lot slower sounding. I don't know if you can tell the differences in sound. Now on the brake, it was a lot quicker that time. And actually, I'll do the active exhaust. You might be able to hear this. And I'll put it into the quicker transmission setting. So accelerating, you can see as soon as I hit the paddle, it shifts. Downshifting, same thing. And then at the same time, if I'm slowly accelerating and let my foot off the gas and then hit it, it takes a good second for the gear to change. Now in 4th gear, I'm off the gas, just coasting, and it takes a while. I hope it can see that on camera. So then on to the 5th thing with dual clutch automatic transmissions is how you launch control these vehicles. Basically launching your car from 0 to 60, basically an acceleration from a standstill up to a very high speed. Now with the GT-R, this has launch control in it, so if I put everything into race mode, the transmission and traction, and leave it in automatic or manual, it'll automatically launch control the vehicle, and that's just a whole cool thing to do, really fun to do. You basically hold the brake, full throttle, and the car will maintain a certain rev, and then when I let off the brake, it launches the vehicle. Not every car is gonna have this. Basically, if you're gonna be launching your car, just like in an automatic transmission at a standstill, hold the brake, and then with your right foot, just give it a little bit of gas, build the revs maybe to 1500, and then as soon as you let off the brake, just floor it, and that's basically how you're gonna be able to launch the car. Now, of course, any type of launching a vehicle puts a lot of stress on the transmission and components with the vehicle. Even with this car that has it, this is a built race car designed for that sort of thing. It is definitely still something that you can risk exploding a transmission, but you definitely don't want to try a neutral dropping or anything weird like that. And of course, if you're launching your car every single day, you're probably prone to having some sort of issue come up at some upcoming point. But if you're gonna launch your car, it is fun, and you don't want to break your car. So if you are going to launch your car, just do it like that. You don't need to put too much stress on the transmission by just mashing the gas, especially if your car does not have an actual launch control. But as far as launching your car does go, it is fun to do, especially in a performance environment. But I think that's about going to wrap up today's video, just going over 5 quick things with dual clutch automatic transmissions, things you should probably not do, and if you're going to do them, just do them in a responsible way. But I hope you guys enjoyed today's quick video. Give it a thumbs up, smash that subscribe button, and we'll see you guys next video.